Okay, I'm gonna keep this video as casually edited as I can because this is something I couldn't resist talking about right away. Let's go straight to context. So, as early as February 2021, Maxwell Atoms hinted while answering a fan question that he's working on a new personal project based on the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy. I assumed at first that it was either some sort of comic or something along the lines of those Mandy drawings he did reminiscent of her opening lines after the title sequence. But then in June, both on Tumblr and the What's in My Head podcast on YouTube, he more or less officially announced his plans on making a new Billy and Mandy movie, intended to be sort of a proper conclusion to the show that answers as much fan speculations about its lore as it can. As a passionate fan of Billy and Mandy myself, I naturally was as hyped about this news as I was about finding out that Maxwell is on the autism spectrum, thus increasing my appreciation for him even more. Sure, I've gone on and on before about how Billy and Mandy's sister series, Con Carne, is more worthy of a return instead, due to how much potential it had left before its quick cancellation. And while I still have a stronger desire to see Hector and his lackeys again, especially this babe, if Maxwell says he wants to bring back Billy, Mandy, Grimm, and everybody else in Endville for the first time since Underfist in 2008, then I have absolutely no problem with that. Besides, Maxwell has been cool enough to write some previously untold and rather hilarious Con Carne lore on his Tumblr recently, including a summary of what its proper series finale should have been, as opposed to just a regular Billy and Mandy episode trying to pass off as the finale to Evil. I'll link those posts in the description for your curiosity's sake. I might do a video talking about them some other time. Over 20 years have passed since we were first introduced to this dynamic trio of Cartoon Network stars, and the love for their humor, stories, and chemistry continues to be strong. Since Twitter is my second most frequented social media site behind YouTube, I notice how much attention tweets of funny clips from the show tend to receive, and a lot of that attention is thanks to the Billy and Mandy Clips page, pretty much the fan account for this show on the platform. If you're watching this B&M clips, I hope you appreciate the shout out. Not to mention, we're still living with the trend of older IPs receiving some sort of revival left and right, whether warranted or not, and the voices of fandoms on the internet are becoming wilder than ever to influence studios' minds. And we must remember that for every dumb reboot, revival, sequel, thingy, there are several that show some dedication to the spirit of the original source material. I mean, look how well the Animaniacs revival and those free Nicktoon TV movies turned out. Obviously, not every fan of the respective source materials was satisfied with them, but positive reception still outweighed the negative. So with Billy and Mandy maintaining healthy popularity on social media, as well as Hollywood acting like a big old recycle bin at the moment, it still be easy for Cartoon Network to say yes, like a certain green elfin creature, to Maxwell Atoms' pitch for a revival movie, right? 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 Well, we've now come to the bit that finally influenced me to talk about this planned movie a few months after he announced it. On September 10th, 2021, there was both good news and bad news. The good news was that Maxwell teased some cool concept art for the movie, which is apparently going to be titled Billy and Mandy Destroy Us All, a cosmic horror musical. Yep, it's planned to be a musical, cause why not? But here's the bad news. Maxwell stated less than a month after handing Cartoon Network his script for the movie, quote, "CN has passed on it for the time being." In other words, at least for now, Cartoon Network essentially threw the idea for Billy and Mandy's grand return in the recycle bin. I feared for this to happen, you know. I feared for this project to be ignored, similar to how they rejected the codename Kids Next Door sequel, Galactic Kids Next Door. Since I'm undisputably a much bigger Billy and Mandy fan than I am of Kids Next Door, the rejection of this movie idea personally disappoints me a lot more. But not as much as Cartoon Network's alleged reasoning for passing on it, mind you. Maxwell basically said that the network's excuse was, Oh, kids these days don't know what Billy and Mandy is since we don't air it anymore. Holy mother of Chupacabra. Where the wimbo do I even begin? First of all, Cartoon Network, you have the damn show streaming on HBO Max, a place that you're aiming much of your studio's forthcoming original content anyway. Parents and other older family members who have an HBO Max subscription can easily introduce the younger ones to Billy and Mandy through that service if they want. If Avatar The Last Airbenders included on Netflix has anything to prove, it's that a cartoon from over 15 years ago can spark a new generation of fans just by streaming it. And look at that! Nickelodeon realizes this resurgence in popularity, and they're taking full advantage of it. For God's sakes, they started up an entire division devoted to developing new Avatar content. So why not simply release the Billy and Mandy movie on HBO Max? Second of all, speaking of Nickelodeon, they ought to be laughing at your black and white checkerboard hiney right now. Did they pass on Hey Arnold the Jungle Movie, Rocko's Modern Life Static Cling, and Invader Zim Enter the Forpus simply because modern day kids don't watch the original shows? No! Well, sir, the Jungle Movie underperformed in ratings allegedly due to Arnold's supposed obscurity with kids these days, along with the more recognizable competition at that time. And the latter two were shelved from airing on TV altogether and got dumped onto Netflix instead, but Nick still took those chances, brought back their respective shows' original creators and a number of other casting crew members, and the results turned out really good for the most part. And third of all, and I might as well direct this question to Warner Media as a whole, if your so-called reason for Billy and Mandy's revival movie getting rejected is because the original show no longer airs on the network, at least in America, then why bother greenlight Thundercats 4, eh? The original show is mostly a nostalgia trip for 80s and 90s kids, and the other time it got rebooted was quickly cancelled, much like Thundercats Roar. And how about Jellystone, a cartoon developed by a former Billy and Mandy crew member, by the way. Unless it's Scooby-Doo, Tom and Jerry, and maybe the Flintstones and Jetsons, it seems practically every Hanna-Barbera character who got to star in this show isn't a guaranteed prior acquaintance with the 7-year-olds of today. Hell, many of them haven't been properly seen since the 90s. And no, cameos on Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, or even Billy and Mandy don't really count. Fortunately, so far at least, Jellystone actually seems successful. While I can't speak for the actual kids who Jellystone was aimed at, the show appears to be getting some pretty good reception from adult animation lovers who may have grown up watching those old funny ammo Hanna-Barbera cartoons on Cartoon Network and or Boomerang. I've yet to see a full episode for myself, but as a casual fan of some old school Hanna-Barbera shows and a bigger fan of C.H. Greenblatt's work, I know for sure it will be a win. But yeah, a vast majority of media that gets rebooted for a new generation are older stuff from 15 years or more that those younger viewers may not have prior knowledge about to begin with, unless if exposure of the original source material continues to be really strong in some form years after cancellation. That's the main point of a reboot/revival, so as long as it's done well, and not a mess like, say, the 2016 Powerpuff Girls. But wait, is that the real reason why you didn't immediately agree to bring back Billy and Mandy? Because you're afraid of receiving more backlash for possibly screwing up yet another reboot of a beloved Cartoon Network classic? That may also explain why you've also passed on that Courage the Cowardly Dog prequel series John R. Dilworth announced in 2018, although he seemed to be okay with having Courage hang out with Scooby-Doo without John's involvement. Sure, fine. Well, CN, if it's the original creator who's pitching this idea of a revival project, then as long as you agree to let him make it and don't suddenly kick him off the project like how the creators of Avatar stepped down from the upcoming live-action reboot on Netflix, then there shouldn't be much of a problem, right? So yeah, I don't think I need to explain any further as to why your excuse for passing on the Billy and Mandy revival movie is bullcrap, Cartoon Network. Oh, and another thing, Robot Chicken recently aired an episode that contained a Billy and Mandy parody, not too long before this news about the movie came out. As sick and funny as it was in its own right, I find it eerily coincidental that Adult Swim aired it around the time of its parent channel rejecting Billy and Mandy Destroy Us All. Sort of a subtle middle finger, if you will. Though Maxwell and Grimm's voice actor Greg Eagle seemed to be okay with the sketch. So now what? I know a lot of you guys who are following me or watching this video are fans of Billy and Mandy, and perhaps Evil Con Carne as well, so you might be as bummed out as I am about Billy and Mandy Destroy Us All getting the pass. So what's to be done? Simple. Like I mentioned, fan reactions on the internet, while obviously not a guaranteed magic wand, are doing a better job at getting studios' attention than ever before thanks to social media. On Twitter, there's a hashtag that started up called hashtag BNMHBO. Using the hashtag, simply tweet whatever expressions of love for the show you have, be it fan art or your favorite jokes from the show or whatever. Let Cartoon Network know that you want to see this movie be made for HBO Max. Within a rapid amount of time, the hashtag has already gone itself trending, to the point where even the voices of Billy and Mandy themselves grew aware of the overwhelming support we're giving it. This climax within the fandom is simply amazing. I did my part to petition for the movie's fulfillment, and so can you. As usual, the script was longer than I expected, so let's wrap things off. What are your thoughts? Do you want to see this grand return of Billy, Mandy, and Grimm become a reality? Or are you just fine with the show concluding with Underfists and feel it doesn't need a comeback? Also, what are some things you hope to see in Billy and Mandy Destroy Us All if it ever gets the green light? For me, it's two things. One, the Evil Con Carne crew, not just General Scar, but the whole team, better make at least a cameo. And two, if it's going to be a musical, I'm anticipating for a brand new song by Voltaire, similar to the classic Brains one. For sure, everyone will be talking about that and resharing that like crazy. Okay, that's all for now. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell, share this video, and spread the hashtag BNMHBO around. Thank you for watching and take care.